Gunpoint is a side-scrolling stealth puzzle game in the style of a classic film noir. It was created by Tom Francis, while he was section editor for PC Gamer. For a game made in his free time, Gunpoint is pretty impressive. So what's it about? Gunpoint sees you take control of a freelance spy named Richard Conway, who finds himself embroiled in a corporate murder mystery plot, something that only happens because he literally falls into the crime scene. Now the only suspect, Conway must clear his name and get justice for the victim. It's a pretty simple premise expanded over the course of 2 hours. In that time, Gunpoint does manage to pull off most of the twists and turns you'd probably come to expect from a classic noir crime drama. The story is mainly communicated through texts and email exchanges Conway has with his clients. I found these exchanges to be genuinely well written, giving you just enough to keep you guessing. As for Conway, he doesn't exactly possess a personality. Rather, you're given a variety of responses to choose from. These responses drastically change the tone of the game. Conway could be a straight-edge spy in one playthrough, and a bumbling buffoon in another. As you can tell, the art style of Gunpoint is very minimalistic. This does help the game with its legibility. There's a cleanliness to it. Muted office buildings in clean straight lines highlight doors, staircases, and switches, anything that may prove vital to Conway. Enemies also follow this philosophy. Enemy unit types look very distinct. You're not going to confuse a standard guard with a high-level agent. Key objectives also possess this kind of distinction. They have highlights around them to draw your eyes, so you're unlikely to get confused or lost. The city background doesn't look half bad either. While there's only one, there's enough variation to make it not feel repetitive. The music of Gunpoint closely follows its film noir style. It elevates the world, and does a good job of making you feel like a spy. You have those dreary, jazz-infused tracks that give pre-mission sections a more investigative tone. In the missions, rich swirling saxophones, piano, and staccato drums deliver that high-stakes energy you'd probably expect from a spy thriller. Since one of Gunpoint's core mechanics is hacking, something we'll touch more on later, the music is almost technological at times. The music really is one of the highlights of Gunpoint. There isn't a lot of it, mind you, but what's here is fantastic. One of the most exciting features of Gunpoint is Conway's Bullfrog brand hyper trousers. They let Conway leap large distances and heights. Open door on a higher floor? Need to jump a guard on the other side of the hallway? No problem. Don't get me wrong, this doesn't make Conway some kind of ninja. The hyper trousers are anything but graceful. There's a level of imprecision to them. Conway is essentially throwing himself around and hoping for the best. It does lead to some fairly entertaining situations though. Combined with the hyper trousers, Conway is also able to stick to surfaces. This does a lot for active stealth. Jumping to a ceiling or wall can quickly get you out of a guard's line of sight. Sit there and wait for him to pass, or you could get the jump on him. Although this isn't always the best choice. High-tier enemies can really be perceptive. Some enemies, like agents, can even see in the dark. Luckily, we do have some better options available, in the form of Crosslink. Crosslink is a tool that lets Conway rewire pretty much everything, with some exceptions. In its simplest form, Conway can use Crosslink to make a light switch open a door, or have a security camera call an elevator. These are relatively small changes that can be done on the fly. Where this gets complicated is when you factor in things like multiple circuits. Say you're next to a door, there aren't any switches around, but you know you need to activate something to open it. So you look around and notice a matching sound sensor on the top floor next to the elevator. That elevator's on the green circuit though. Luckily, a green sound sensor is at the bottom floor next to another elevator. Calling the elevator on the bottom floor activates the sensor, causing the elevator to be called up to the top floor. The resulting sound opens the door. Simple enough, right? But there isn't a limit to how much you can connect. It's almost to the point where you can pre-solve missions before Conway even steps inside. Not to mention, some levels have trap doors. When timed right, these can take out guards for you. Crosslink is simple enough to avoid becoming overcomplicated, but complex enough to let players approach missions how they want. It's up to you how creative you want to get. Creativity really is at the core of Gunpoint. Each mission can be approached in a near infinite number of ways. It's one of the reasons the game is so replayable. Some levels are more linear than others, but that's why Gunpoint has a scoring system at the end of each mission. Players can receive grades based on factors like the amount of noise made, or how violent they decided to get. This isn't just for brownie points either. Each of these variables directly affects how much Conway earns at the end of the mission. This money can go towards upgrades or new gadgets that might make Conway's life easier. You don't have to commit to these either. Every unlockable can be tested and refunded. So if you find something not to your liking, no worries. Just refund it and get something else. This also plays into the replayability, since Conway can't afford every upgrade at once. You'll have to choose which upgrades suit your playstyle. For instance, a stealthy player may invest in something to muffle glass breaking, while a high action player may be more interested in the ability to dodge bullets. If you finish the campaign and aren't sure what to do next, Gunpoint provides a reasonably comprehensive level builder. Although it's pretty simple in design, it does have the full range of tools and tiles. You can make some pretty complicated stuff with this, just as long as it has a completable objective and bus station exit. You can even upload completed maps to the workshop, or download some already finished ones. You can spend hours with this thing, and not even touch the main game. Gunpoint is a highly focused and enjoyable experience. Although the story only lasts around 2 hours, what's here is really good. The music and story are really well executed. There's a level of polish that you just don't see in most indie games. Everything from the control to the puzzle solving feels tight, and reacts as expected. I only really found one bug while playing, and I would struggle to call it that. Late into the game, they start adding these powered doors that close after a few seconds. I found that if you face away from the door and position yourself just right, you can actually clip through these doors. It was something I found by accident, and after some practice, I could replicate it pretty reliably. I recognize it's more of a speedrunning strat than a bug, but I figure I'd mention it here. Anyway, once you've mastered all that Gunpoint has to offer, the level editor and loads of workshop maps are more than enough to keep you busy. Priced around only $10, what you're getting is one hell of a deal. Even if you're not interested in all that, the game by itself is still worth your time. And hey, check out any of Tom Francis's other projects. You might find something else also worth your time. Well, anyway, that's all for me today. I've been working on converting some of my Medium articles to videos, so this will be the first of many. If you want to read any of the original articles, I'll leave it in the description. I appreciate you guys watching, and like and subscribe, I guess. See you next time.